Biggest win?
Yeah.
Biggest win I ever had? Miller Lite.
Like
The
drinking it?
drinking it. No.
Drinking a beer is his biggest achievement.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to the show. It's Noah and James. We're talking about our greatest wins and greatest losses in our careers over the years in marketing and advertising. So this is the winning episode. We get to be winners today.
Awesome.
After I know I had to buy like an entire box of Kleenex for Noah last time because he burst into tears after the show ended.
Yeah.
But I've recovered now.
Well, it was hard to get over all those losses, but I'm back.
Okay,
I'm
you're
ready.
back. That's good. So, and you've had some time to capture some wins.
To win.
Right?
I've had some time to win.
All right.
Cool. Biggest win?
Yeah.
Biggest win I ever had? Miller Lite.
Like
the
drinking it?
Drinking it. No.
Drinking a beer is his biggest achievement.
Yeah. I mean, I pitched on it twice, actually. So this is a fun story. Is that when I first pitched on Miller Lite, they were not ready to launch, and so they didn't choose an agency. And since then, I had left and went to a different agency, but they came back because they liked the pitch, and they said, "Noah, do you want to pitch on it again?"
Yeah.
And I did. And so we pitched on it competitively against another much larger agency.
Yeah.
And ended up winning. And that was like the biggest win because it was the largest launch in, I believe it was 2014.
Yeah.
And the largest budget spend of almost any of the beer brands.
That's amazing. So that would have been millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah. My win looks very, very weak compared to that one. But you have to remember this was at the very beginning of my career. Just came out of college. So one of our first projects my buddy and I got was for a two-way radio communications and equipment company, building an e-commerce website. So we were fresh out of school. We knew the latest technology. We were full of confidence. And the project was $6,000. So, not millions. It was $6,000. But we thought this was, at the time, by far the biggest contract we ever landed. We were on top of the moon. This was going to pay us for 2 months. Right? We were only making $3,000 a month or so, working from home. Like, this was way back, right? 2006, 7. So yeah, a long time ago, and didn't go as planned. And this was a bit of a scope issue. We had no idea what we were doing. We were just full of confidence, false confidence. So the project would have been okay if it did take 2 months. It took 8 months. It was very, very complicated. The software was a little newish. It wasn't as quite easy to use as these days. And there was a lot of learning curves to do. So really, it was the first time we built something this big, e-commerce site. And because we didn't know what we were doing, we had to learn everything for the first time. And it's just that's a red flag. So if we get into a project now and we haven't done it before, should you even attempt at this point? Because you have a high chance of screwing it up, or even if you're successful, which we were in the end, we didn't make any money. So I made about $10 to $15 an hour once I figured out how many hours I put into the project. My friend, Thomas, who's now my one of the owners of this company, all these years later, he calculated his rate of return, and it was $5. So he made $5 an hour. He's like, well, I'm doing this. I could have made more money flipping burgers at McDonald's, but here I am. But at least he had the experience. Yeah.
And I mean, it's a bit of an investment in knowledge and experience.
That's what we had to chalk it up to. Otherwise, you just feel depressed,
totally.
Right? So you got paid to learn something, but man, it was a hard lesson.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, another big win for me would be one of the wine brands that I worked on was my first large contract as a small company. And unlike yours, the margins were huge on that one because it's all design work. I knew the scope. I knew how to design packaging. I had just started my own design packaging firm. And it was in the category that I'm familiar with, which is beverage alcohol. And it was the largest rebrand that year, and it's the largest volume wine in Canada. And so it was a very, very big deal. And that was, again, competitive pitch against the same agency that I beat for Miller Lite.
Yeah.
So I beat them twice at 2 different agencies. I felt really good about myself when we won the competitive bid.
Yep.
And then we executed and ended up creating almost 300 different SKUs. And when you are creating new SKUs, new packages, you do the master rebrand first, and then you charge for each incremental piece of packaging. And so by the time you get to the 100th of them, you're starting to make pretty good profit. And by the time you get to 300, it sets you up.
And
for the
this
rest
is
of the year.
the exact flip of the episode where we talked about being out of scope, not meeting client expectations. So this is one where you stayed in scope yourself creatively, and so you didn't sabotage yourself by overdoing something that they didn't ask for. And also the client had an expectation which you met. You guys understood what the project was about. And you've done it before. You've done it a lot of times before, so you're really good at this. And you end up just killing it. Like it's such a good match. So I'm gonna piggyback on your story because the win I had is less of a specific moment and more of a journey, because our agency is now 19 years old. Twin Creek Media has been through lots of obstacles and hurdles and lessons along the way. So, but knowing what you're good at, turning that into a repeatable process, and hiring the right people. This is kind of a mix of things. If you get it right in a lot of areas, you have the right people in the right seats on the bus. So your team is amazing. Complementary strengths, right? Hire someone that's better than you at something. Also, you have clients that match you on expectation that you can deliver on, and you have a system for that. It's not based on, going back to that $5 an hour story, which sounded like you don't even really think about how much money you're making per hour anymore, because you're delivering something that they're expecting and they have a standard for, and you meet that. Some of the best projects we've ever done had nothing to do with how much time was spent on it. It was just the people working on the project came together with ideas and executed on something that was absolutely perfect. And the campaign took off. Whatever we delivered with a website or a campaign that was for lead generation or a video or whatever it was. Just like the success of it from a financial point of view for the agency, people like us, was massive. Like you're not that you ever calculate it, but I did calculate it one time. It was a branding project. I got paid $11,000. I actually felt so guilty. I told the person I only spent 45 minutes on this.
Crazy.
Because it was a concept and then a design, and I was actually finished, and it was done. Like, it was a weird one-off, but at that time, I made the same hourly rate as Bill Gates.
Right.
So yeah, it was crazy. So it just neat wins like that, right? And you're delivering something of really high value. Is detached from how much time was invested into it.
Totally.
And it becomes more of what's the value of what you delivered to the client, and they're happy. They don't really care that they spent. This agency that I did the branding project for, that was $11,000. They had just been through a branding process. Sorry, I didn't get paid $11,000. I got paid $8,500. He had just spent $11,000 with another agency that didn't deliver anything that worked.
Right.
So he just wasted $11,000 completely, and then in 45 minutes, there was something delivered that the client absolutely loved, and it was $8,500. So he was on top of the world. But, it was a great value for money in his opinion, because he just burned 11 on nothing. Yeah. So yeah, just neat stories. Yeah,
that is neat. I think piggybacking on that, and also kind of coming back to your first one, where do you take on things that you're not familiar with? And this was...
And we'll leave that one there as a cliffhanger.
Ooh.
And put it into part 2.
Part 2. But this one's so connected.
So click on Greatest Wins of Marketing Advertising Knowing James something or other, episode 2.
Next.
Next.